Hi, I'm Rick Spilsbury, and this is Water Taker Fail number 2. Coming to you from the beautiful high deserts of my native ancestry, the Great Basin. And I'm here to remind you that we have a better option. A famous politician once said that politics is the art of the possible. But he didn't say politics is the art of the practical. And he certainly didn't say politics is the art of the wise. And in America, he certainly could have said politics is the art of the greedy. You could call it the art of the steal. For example, the highest art of greedy American dirty politics is to force others to pay for something that only makes you money. Getting people in Las Vegas, who already have plenty of water, to pay for water for growth fits right into that genre of postmodern American political art of deception. Obviously, speculators don't want to pay the cost for growth. That would cut into their profits. So they plan to get unaware Las Vegas to pay that $15 billion water grab bill for them. And yes, $15 billion may sound like a very high price, but it isn't the actual price. It's just the sticker price. Guess what? The sticker price is just a lie to convince us we can afford something that ultimately costs a lot more. And by the way, spending outrageous amounts of money to drain the last of our state's water reserves is how we end up in a desert with no water and no money. The hidden costs of the water grab are unacceptable, especially when Las Vegas has a better option. That option is to generate solar power instead, and then trade that solar power for more water from the Colorado River. The process isn't straightforward, but it isn't that complex, and it can be done in a way that provides southern Nevada with even more water than the water grab. If a solar array were installed on Lake Mead, not only would we not bulldoze healthy desert, but we would shade the lake, which means we would reduce evaporative losses. The power lines to Southern California already exist in the underutilized power lines from Hoover Dam, and this power could be used to run desalination plants along the California coast, or even out on the open ocean, thus eliminating environmental risks on the coast. Nothing I've mentioned here is science fiction. The idea even won an MIT award. And why? Because with desalination, there would be more water. Now let's compare the costs of the water grab versus desalination, or as I like to say, taking water versus making water. 1. Expect high fuel costs with the water grab. Pumping water across half the state of Nevada will continue to cost Las Vegas dearly for as long as they continue pumping. On the other hand, solar arrays will generate fuel. Number 2. There are maintenance costs for all those pipelines. Pumps are mechanical devices that have to deal with water damage. Pipes leak. These will constantly have to be maintained. On the other hand, photovoltaic solar panels have no moving parts. Their expected life with minor maintenance is well over 30 years. Number 3. Accidents happen. But the water grab won't be an accident. It will be a planned giant train wreck. The BLM Environmental Impact Statement tells us that parts of rural Nevada will be devastated. That's where mitigation costs could end up in the billions. But don't worry, developers won't have to pay that. They'll set things up so the Nevadans will pay that for them. On the other hand, solar panels covering 1 to 2% of Lake Mead will not likely have much of any negative effect on the lake environment. Besides, Lake Mead is a man-made lake. It has already changed the environment. Number 4. There are interest payments. The Southern Nevada Water Authority, the Sinway, has already calculated out the cost of interest payments for the construction of the water pipelines. That's part of the $15 billion cost estimate. But it's only an estimate. Almost every big project the Sinway has conducted has had substantial cost overruns. And since this project would be essentially worthless until it's completed, the water grab cost overruns could be astounding. But with a solar array, Some of the power generated could be sold on the open market to pay those interest payments, and therefore ratepayers wouldn't have to get stuck with high water prices. Number 5, there are consequences. Scientists have predicted that if carbon dioxide emissions continue to grow as predicted, the western U.S. will have a greater than 90% chance of a megadrought that will last at least 35 years. There may be water in rural Nevada now. Nobody really knows. But odds are, by the time the water grab pipelines get built, the only option left will be water mining, which means that the Sinway must know that the only way to pay for this project will likely mean the complete desertification of a huge portion of the rest of the state. And it should be obvious. Creating a desert state won't leave us better off. However, desalination means more water. And if we don't waste rural Nevada's water reserves, we might still have it if we do become critically desperate for water. Solar power means less carbon dioxide emissions, and therefore less chance of a megadrought, and the shading of small portions of Lake Mead essentially means free water out of thin air. A few years back, the Sinway paid millions to CH2M Hill for a, quote, study of long-term augmentation options for the water supply of the Colorado River, unquote. Right there in the final report was the comment, quote, the treated water from ocean desalination facilities constructed to improve Colorado River water supplies would be used in California or Mexico in place of water otherwise diverted from the Colorado River, thereby adding to the available supply in the Colorado River and avoiding the costs of long-distance diversion, end quote. Upper management of the Sinway has known, at least since this study was published in 2008, that trading desalinated water for more water from the Colorado River was a good idea. Moreover, since then, the estimated price of desalinated water has dropped from $1,800 to $700 an acre-foot. And conveniently, we can't compare that to the price of water grab water because the Sinway won't tell us. Of course, because of unpredictable cost overruns, it would be a lowball number anyway. Sometime in 2018, Lake Mead water levels will likely drop to the point where automatic Colorado River conservation restrictions will force southern Nevada to halt their water banking and maybe even start to dip into those bank supplies. 2018, not decades from now, will likely be the point where Las Vegas will start to consider committing to either taking water or making water. Either way, the people of Las Vegas will be told they have to pay for infrastructure for people who haven't moved there yet, and may never. Which means that the residents of Las Vegas, not speculators, will be stuck with the risk. That's the art of American politics. So, if immigrants choose not to move to Las Vegas, the water grab could end up a titanic boondoggle that would burden Las Vegans with debt for decades. But on the other hand, under the same worst-case scenario conditions, a solar power array would just sell the power elsewhere. The choice is yours. No, wait a minute. The choice of legalizing marijuana was yours. The water choice is up to bureaucrats and politicians. Which means, if we don't speak up, we're going to be left high and dry. Think about it. No bong water. But that's okay. You'll be drowning in debt.